So I've had a number of comments recently about my short positions, and I've realised that clearly I've not properly explained the whole concept of shorting and why you kind of need it in my portfolio as such. Now, the two concerns are for ethical reasons and for financial reasons. So, first of all, I'm just going to go over the ethical reasons. Okay, so a lot of the time people are kind of have issues with shorting because of the fact that they're saying they have this kind of perception of, you're shorting the company, you want it to go bust, you're kind of profiting on people losing their jobs. And for some people, that is the case, but that's not what I'm doing. Okay, there is a big difference. I used to work for Kingfisher. I know people that still work for Kingfisher. Now, not close enough that I get any proper information about the company, so there's no kind of insider trading knowledge there. But I don't want them to lose their jobs. So I don't want Kingfisher to go bust. And I also don't think it will go bust. I actually think Kingfisher is going to be around for a very long time. The reason that I'm shorting the company is because I think that the current valuation is too high, that it's not worth as much as it is. And there's another benefit of shorting a company and driving the share price down, and that is that you're telling the management of a company that they are doing something wrong. Now, a CEO of a company, of a publicly listed company, is answerable to shareholders. And if your shareholders are going to your AGM and they're saying, we're not happy with the way you're managing this company, look at our share price, look how much money we've lost because the way you're managing it, it pushes them to make changes in the business. It also gives them more leverage with their shareholders to make changes to the business that are needed. So, for example, Kingfisher is a great example of this. In my opinion, a lot of the profits, the dividends as such, for this company at the moment are too high. What they're doing is a lot of the profits are being taken out of the business, and rather than being reinvested where it's needed, that money is being given out to shareholders. Now, if the share price is dropping, what it does to investors, people that are holding their money in the company, is rather than going, you need to give us all the profits, they're far more accepting of profits being reinvested in the business to make the business grow again and to kind of reinvent the business. And in my opinion, that's what's needed. So, as much as you may think that me shorting a company is bad, in my opinion, you're misunderstanding what I'm doing, because that's not the case. With Ford and with GM, again, although I think the businesses are going to be much smaller, that's more a case of, again, I don't think the businesses are really moving with the times. But it's also because of the fact that I think that Tesla's going to take up a much larger proportion of the market, and that's what's going to take these companies down. Now, again, this isn't that I'm profiting from the fact that these companies are doing badly. This is going to happen anyway, and I'm just using that kind of positioning to offset risk within my portfolio. So I don't think that necessarily these companies will be going bust in the next couple of years. I think they'll probably limp on for quite a while. So I'm not betting on people losing their jobs. I'm betting on these companies losing money and having to reinvent themselves and to make changes needed within the business. Okay, and for example, GM, a company like GM is investing in completely the wrong areas. So what they're doing is they're creating jobs for people that they are going to lose. Okay, if you're a business that's really bad, that makes jobs for people and then takes them away because the business folds, that's the business that's causing the problem, and you need to say to that business, stop doing it. Okay, so as much as some people kind of raise ethical issues on shorting a company, that's not necessarily always the case. And like I say, in the way that I'm shorting these companies, that's not the reasoning for it. So number two being the financial reasons. Now, a lot of people have sort of said about the fact of there's other PIs on eToro that have got the same sort of risk score, a 5 risk score, that have, a broad range of stocks, and they've got no short positions, and that's fine. But obviously, that's a completely different strategy to what I'm doing. The reason that I've been successful and my strength is that I pick the smaller number of stocks that I think are going to be the most successful. Okay. I mean, for example, in 2019, most of 2019, I had 2 stocks. Okay. Now, obviously, I've got a much more diverse portfolio now. But that's in an ideal world, like many of you know, I would have a much smaller portfolio to keep to my strategy, obviously, and manage the eToro risk. That's why I've had to kind of diversify a little bit more anyway to bring my risk score down. But those short positions, the whole point of them is to kind of they're a net negative. Okay, so for example, the eToro risk score is basically done on your daily volatility. Okay, so if, for example, my portfolio from its highest at one point, say it was 2% up one day, and then at another point later in that day it was 2% down, then obviously my volatility is 4%. And that's where eToro kind of puts my risk, is based on that volatility. So if, for example, on a normal day, that's fine, but let's say the whole market dropped and it dropped by 5%. Now there's a good chance that that huge drop with my portfolio, many of my stocks may drop more than that, which would then, if I only have long positions, my whole portfolio would drop, say, 5, 6, 7%. Whereas if I have short positions, what that does is it slows that loss down and stops me losing as much money on that one day. So that kind of net negative means that I can have more long positions because of that. So say, for example, my portfolio as it is today, if I removed my short positions completely and put them into cash, I would then also have to sell some of my long positions and hold that in cash as well, on top of the cash that I've got for my short positions. So I would have less long positions by closing my short positions. Okay, so it doesn't mean if I closed my short positions, I couldn't use that money to buy more long positions to diversify, because that's not how it works. If I did that, that would actually just increase my daily losses if the whole market drops. And that's the important thing to remember, is this isn't about diversification, this is about volatility and daily volatility. And the reason that other people are able to survive this a lot more is because if you own a small amount of 50 different companies, then there's a very good chance that when the whole market drops, 3, 4, 5 of them may well climb as well. So it kind of stops your volatility in that regard. And if that's what you want, then I'm not the right person to be investing in. Okay, because that's not what I do. I pick a few stocks and I manage the small portfolio based on knowing the companies that I'm investing in as well as I possibly can. If I was to invest in, say, 50 different companies, there's no way that I can keep track of all those different companies. It's hard enough to keep track of the companies that I've got now, okay, because, now I'm on like 10. Okay, I used to invest in like 3, 4, that would be my ideal, and that's a manageable number of companies. So if I'm to massively diversify like a lot of the other guys do, I'm not going to have my edge. I will completely lose my edge, which kind of makes it pointless investing in my portfolio. You might as well invest in other people that have a better return ratio on a diverse portfolio like that. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope I've explained it a bit better now. Let me know in the comments below if I've changed your mind on shorting, or whether you still feel exactly the same. And if you still have concerns about my shorts, please do comment below. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.